In the year 2085, New Orleans is no longer a city. It is a memory, drowned beneath the rising waters of a planet struggling to survive its own neglect. But the fall of this city was not sudden. It wasn't just the storms, the hurricanes, or the flooding that caused its collapse. It was a slow, inexorable process.
There, right there, is where my house used to be. Very simple. When I was a kid, they told us the city was sinking.
This is Justin. Scientists are saying New Orleans will be fully underwater by 2080.
Back then, it was just some far-off idea. Something for the scientists, not for us. We believed that the barriers would protect us. We trusted in the pumps to do their job. What we didn't realize was how much time had already slipped away.
The warning signs were there as early as 2005, when Hurricane Katrina exposed the fragility of the city's defenses. But while Katrina was a wake-up call, it wasn't enough. By then, the levees were already aging, and the ground beneath the city was sinking at a rate of 1 inch every 3 years.
By 2050, New Orleans had already started to lose its population. People left the city, either driven out by the constant flooding or lured away by opportunities elsewhere. But it wasn't just the people who were leaving. The very system that sustained the city, its power grid, water supply, transportation net began to fall under the strain of constant floods and increasingly severe storms.
It wasn't just the levees that failed. For centuries, New Orleans had relied on its wetlands to act as natural barriers against storm surges. By the 2040s, these wetlands were disappearing at an alarming rate, an average of 1,000 football fields of land lost every year. These wetlands were not only home to wildlife, they were the city's last line of defense. By 2055, the relentless hurricanes were no longer just seasonal threats. They had become monsters, pushing the limits of what the city could handle. Hurricane Zeta was the final blow. The levees, weakened by years of neglect and the impact of rising sea levels, could no longer withstand the storm surge. Pumps, once the city's lifeblood, were overwhelmed by the sheer volume of water. The city that had withstood centuries of hurricanes was finally drowned.
The city was meant to be resilient. But resilience has its limits. We thought we could outrun the time, but in the end, time finally caught up with us.
The systems that were meant to protect New Orleans, the levees, the pumps, the wetlands, were all caught in a cycle of failure. They were outdated. They were ignored. And when the storms got stronger and the sea levels rose, there were simply no longer enough. It wasn't one disaster that sank the city, but decades of inaction, decades of complacency. New Orleans is not just a casualty of storms and floods. It's a symbol of what happens when we fail to listen to the warnings. The city was once a dream built on the edge of the world, a city that never stopped dancing. But now, that dance is over, and all that remains is the slow and steady creep of the water. Is this our final century? New Orleans is proof of the danger of ignoring the signs, of failing to adapt, of putting our trust in crumbling systems. What happened here can happen anywhere. The world is changing, and we are running out of time to change with it.